Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist. I'm glad you could join me for this episode. I'm going to do a few announcements because December is a crazy busy month, but then I want to spend the rest of the episode sharing an interview that I did a few years ago with Jane Gilmore about our Angel Tree program, because our Angel Tree, there are a lot of Angel Trees that are around, but ours is a very specific Angel Tree and the families that it benefits. And she did such a wonderful job of sharing that story of who they are and how our church got involved with the angels that we are doing. And then just a quick reminder that if you can get your angels back to us by Monday, that would be awesome. But let's just really quick run through all of the stuff that's happening, because there's plenty going on. This coming Sunday is the second Sunday of Advent. We also have another baptism, which is super exciting. I love it. Having two baptisms in a row is always fun, and I've gotten to do that a couple times this year. So we'll be having that as a part of the service. After service, leadership team will be meeting briefly, in particular, two of the main agenda items for the leadership team in this meeting, just to kind of share a little bit about the things, that are on the docket for leadership team, is approving insurance. We had a situation where our insurance company and the insurance agent that we've been using, those two parted ways. And in that process, in trying to either go back to that company with a new agent, increased the proposed premiums by a significant amount. So we've been doing the work of researching other insurance plans and companies. And so we need to make a decision on that before January 1st. And then the other big agenda item will be hopefully getting to approve the budget. Really, we are pretty ready to do that apart from the insurance piece. So if we can get the insurance figured out, we should be able to get the budget figured out as well. The other really small thing, leadership team also will be the final decision maker on what our mission offering is for our Christmas Eve services. And so once that meeting is done, then I'll be able to promote and share where our Christmas Eve mission offerings will go. This will also be the final meeting for 3 of our leadership team members, as they will then rotate off in the new year. And so I just want to say a special thank you to Dave Corneman, who not only served on finance, but in the last year served as the chair of leadership team. Thank you to Susan Shavy, who has been serving faithfully on SPPR, and to Scott Gaziski, who is the trustee man. And I'm a little... It's just, he's never not been a trustee as long as I've been here. So that's going to be a big adjustment. But hopefully he will be able to fill some of his free time in other ways with the church. And so thank you. And then looking forward, we've invited our 3 newly elected leadership team members to come to this meeting to kind of just get an introduction. And so we will be welcoming Steve King on finance, John Schaefer on trustees, and Michael Pietola on SPR. So that's exciting. Also, after worship on Sunday, we will be doing our Care Casserole Christmas caroling. I love the alliteration. That'll happen kind of after fellowship time, because there are some of us in leadership team that would like to do that. And so if that is something you're interested in, just hang around. We'll probably have 2 groups that will go and tackle. We've got a couple lists of people who are connected to our church who are more homebound, not able to leave. And so we can bring them some Christmas joy in the form of music and food. And who doesn't love those 2 things? So that is happening this Sunday as well. Next Wednesday will be the final rehearsal and final 605 for December on the 18th, or on the 11th, excuse me, on the 11th, that didn't sound right. Because the 15th will be the Christmas program. The youth and children will be leading worship that day. The children will have their program, and the youth will handle all of the other pieces of the worship service. And so that is coming on the 15th. Following worship service that day will be a brunch. And we do ask that parents of 605 kids, if you would bring a pastry to add to the brunch that day, that would be great. Have your kids here by 9:30 that morning. in the activity room. And then after the 11th, so the 18th and 25th, obviously we're not going to be doing 605 on the 25th. Those are days off for 605 kids. We know that as we get close to Christmas, things are just hectic. And so use the 18th especially as a little break in your schedule. On the 17th, however, is our Blue Christmas service here at 7 p.m. We do this jointly with the UCC Church. Um, we've got some really special things in store for this service. And so if you've been struggling at all this season, I hope that you put this on your calendar as a special time to come and acknowledge your grief, acknowledge how hard this can be. And in doing so, I think you'll find some hope and peace. And so that again is Tuesday, December 17th. And then we do have two Christmas Eve worship services on the 24th, one at 4:30 and then one at 7. And they're both going to be wonderful services. The 7 o'clock service, we're adding something new this year, which is communion on Christmas Eve. This is something I haven't done in years, but I have found really special, and the liturgy for it is actually sung. And part of the reason I haven't offered it is because I want to do the sung liturgy, and for years and years I haven't been able to sing. And so now, hopefully, I can do it this year. And so, if you're trying to decide between the two services, one, you can't make a wrong choice, but two, know that the 7 p.m. service has that extra added element to it. Um, Yeah, and so that's a little bit of, don't forget to go to Mead to see the Hall of Trees, and we have a tree there. So we definitely want you to go and be a part of that and just enjoy the holiday season. Please don't let it overwhelm you. Please don't feel like you have to do every single thing that is offered. It's just too much. But find the things that bring you joy. I also want to give a big shout out and thank you to the two ladies who put on the Christmas Heritage. That was such an incredible event, and I'm looking forward to doing it again and again. And so thank you for your idea and for your willingness to try something and for putting together such an incredible event and opportunity for us. And so I look forward to next year having even more variety and more things that helps us to get to know each other better and to experience the Christmas season in a new way. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to, again, an interview with Jane Gilmore from a few years ago with really good information and the story of our angel tree. Until next time, God bless. I would love to have you share a little bit about what is Angel Tree and how it came about in our church, because different churches have it, but it benefits different places and different people. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about the history of Angel Tree in our church.
I suppose the very beginning is that Tom, my husband, has worked on the Rosebud Reservation the first 20 years we were here. So he was going out there every week, and somehow I got involved a little too when Tree of Life got started out at on Rosebud. And so many people from church have gone out and helped with projects at Tree of Life. But one of the times when we were out there helping get Christmas ready for people on Rosebud, the director said to myself and probably whoever else was with us, would your church have any interest in doing a Christmas for people at Milks Camp? They are actually tribal members, but they don't live on the reservation, and we would like to have for them to have some sort of special Christmas event also. So it was brought up here at church, and people thought that sounded like a good idea. So rather than just gifts for 4-year-old boys or whatever, it seemed like the suggestion was that we try to make this personal because we were dealing with, I'm going to say, approximately 80 kids. So what we have done in the past is we've written a name and an age on an angel that is put on our tree and then delivered to Milks Camp. And most people wonder where Milks Camp is and what it is. And I must say I learned a few facts about this last night when I was asking Tom how to explain Milks Camp.
Yeah, because I've lived in South Dakota my whole life and I had never heard of it. So I'm glad that you're going to share.
Okay, well, this is my take on his helping me, was that at one time the reservation went all the way to the Missouri River, so it was settled by Native people. And as settlers settled in and moved across the river and so forth, the reservation itself receded to Todd County. But there were some people who chose to stay where they were living and not move all the way to Mission, South Dakota area. So there was land that belonged to one of the sub-chiefs of the reservation, and his last name was Milk. So where some of the people settled in that area, and that was called Milks Camp. But they weren't confined to that area. They could choose to live in Bonesteel or Burke or any rural area they chose, and it's a very scattered group of people, but they still try to be supportive of each other. They do a Christmas potluck, and our gifts are given out at that time, and so it has become a very big event in many families and for the kids. And some of the people in our church have tried to get the same names every year and follow the kids from, say, 2 or a newborn baby up till. So at 18, when you're out of school, you sort of phase out of our individual gift program.
You graduate from it, maybe.
Graduate, yes. That sounds kinder than phase out.
So if I understand it right, it's so they're natives who it used to be reservation land way back, and when the reservation receded, they chose to stay where they were. So Milks Camp isn't just like a town; it's really kind of all of those who are part of the tribe, but who live outside of the tribal land in that general area, and they kind
Correct. Yes, it's referred to, or at least we refer to it that way. I'm not sure if the people who live there do it, but yes, the project, we refer to everybody, and it includes 4 school districts that these kids attend. So they are scattered pretty wide, but I think they are very supportive of each other, and probably also many are related to each other.
Yeah, so they're all connected, and you said that they come together for this Christmas event, and that's really where the gifts that this church supplies, that's where they get distributed.
Yes.
So I think that's an incredible thing, and so it started with Tree of Life, which is one of our Methodist mission outposts, and for them to say, here's a hole that no one is really meeting, and we want to make sure that we're trying to bless as many people as we can, and for this church to step up and say, we want to do that. We want to fill that hole. We want to meet the needs where they're not being met yet. I think that's a pretty incredible thing, and a pretty incredible ministry that we've been able to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been a really fun, not fun, maybe not the right word, but inspiring kind of event to be involved in. And people always or often ask, well, can you take pictures, or can we come? And we have never gone to the community dinner because we don't feel that they need somebody standing there watching them. So anyways, we deliver the gifts, and we are thanked gratefully, and we sort of feel that that's our participation.
Yeah, well, Jesus, talked about that, when we're doing something that if we do it for the thanks, then the thanks will be the reward. But if we do it in faith, knowing that God knows and God sees the blessing that is happening, that we build up our reward in heaven in that way. And so I think there is some, we have the desire. I wish I could see the look on the kids' face when they open my present, and because there's such joy in giving, but to trust that when we give, even if we don't get to see that it's still happening, and that love of Christ is still being shown to those families. I think that's really, really an incredible thing to get to be a part of. And so we've been doing this for how long in this church?
I can't remember for sure, but I know it's at least 12 to 15 years we've been going to Milks Camp. But I don't know for sure.
It just starts to, it's been a while. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's been a while. And people always ask, well, when is the tree going up, or when are we this, or when are we that? But so, lots of people do remember and want to participate.
Yes, and so I mean, I think that's kind of the question is, if you want to be a part of this ministry, and probably many who are watching have been doing this for years already, and if you maybe if you're one of the people that has kind of been following a kid or a child through this process, you can already be starting to pick up some items in anticipation for the box that you're going to give. And so if someone is interested in doing this and maybe haven't done it before, or it's been a while, what are some guidelines or suggestions for what would be good and helpful gifts because you're ranging from newborn to teenager. So, I mean, that's quite a range.
It is quite a range. And one of the guidelines we've tried to use is one item of clothing. And we suggest that the clothing be a larger size than the age of the child. Native children are often a little broader in build, and so you want something that's going to be usable and wearable for a while, and one toy or game kind of item. And then we offer the option, which for people who can't go shopping or don't have an idea what to get a 13-year-old or that sort of thing, if they would put $25 in an envelope, and it is very important that their angel be put in that envelope too, because each gift is only identified by the angel that is taped to it. So if somebody from the youth group or from the church is going to do the shopping, they need to have that angel with the name on it so that we can attach that to the gift. But the option of doing shopping for people has been a good fit for people who just aren't able to get out and shop that want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way is you could just send in a donation marked as Angel Tree, and then when we get the angels, we can just attach an angel to that one and go shopping for that. So probably that $25 mark is kind of where, if you're buying items or games or toys, to kind of, that's sort of the expected amount, or kind of, again, a sort of guideline, because you don't want one kid in a household to get something that's worth $5 and the other one to get something that's like $70. So to kind of keep it right around that $25 mark is probably.
Yes, that was one of the goals also, was to give people a range or of an idea, and it's probably a little more challenging to get teenager items, 2 items, but it's not so important for teenagers maybe to have both items, but most people have been very creative and been able to do it. And we ask that the gifts be wrapped, but by being wrapped, they can also be put in a gift bag, and as long as nothing can fall out of the gift bag, and then the angel attached to the outside of it. And if you're not as some of the gifts that show up are unbelievably beautiful, and if I wrap one, it's pretty iffy, so bags can be a blessing for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on the gift bags. Anytime I try to wrap something, it never turns out the way that I think it should. Even a box somehow doesn't really work. So gift bags have always been a good option for sure. Is there anything else, Jane, that you think would be helpful for people to know about our angel tree?
Not thinking of anything right at the moment. People have always responded really well, and I guess probably the most challenging job is if there is an angel that isn't attached firmly to the package. Whose angel, what package does it belong to? So that would be a little reminder to make sure that angel is attached firmly.
And if you take an angel, make sure that you bring a present for it, because if you have that name, no one else can get that name. Or if you take an angel and realize that it's not going to work for you this year, just bring it back and we'll cover it. But we just don't want you to forget about it at home, or take it and not be able to do something with it, because that angel represents a child, and we want to bless as many children as we can this year. Well, Jane, I am so grateful to have you join me today, knowing that we have been a blessing to people right here in our own state who that's what God calls us to love, right? Our neighbors. So I can't think of a better way to celebrate Christmas than to be a blessing. So thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m., either in person or via our live stream, which can be found at our website, www.firstumcyankton.org, or by searching First UMC Yankton on YouTube.